My parents gave my brother the $100,000 down payment for his new house, telling me I didn't need help because I was too ambitious for a woman and should focus on finding a husband. They expected me to keep supporting them financially. They had no idea I had already cut them off and moved my savings. My phone lit up with Mom's name, and I already knew what was coming. The smugness in her voice confirmed it before she even finished her first sentence. Alina, honey, we just gave Bobby the money for his house down payment, $100,000. Isn't that wonderful? I gripped my coffee mug tighter, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. That's great, Mom. Really great. I know you probably wish you could have helped him, to sweetie. But with your lifestyle choices, we understood you needed to focus on yourself. My lifestyle choices, right? Like building a 7-figure consulting business from scratch, like paying their mortgage for 3 years when Dad lost his job, like funding their 35th anniversary cruise last summer when they couldn't possibly afford it. Actually, Mom, I owe, and Bobby's already picked out the most darling colonial in Highland Park, 4 bedrooms, perfect for when he finally settles down with a nice girl. You remember Sarah from church? Her daughter just moved back to town. I let her ramble while opening my laptop. Right on schedule. A notification popped up from my banking app. They tried accessing the joint account I'd quietly closed last month. 3 attempted logins in the past. Mom, I cut in. I should go. Client meeting, always working. You know, Alina, men don't find that very odd. Bye, Mom. Give my love to Dad. I ended the call and immediately texted Monica. It's happening. They just found out. Monica replied instantly, holy shit. You actually did it. You okay? Was I okay? I stared at my reflection in the window of my home office. 2 years old, self-made, and finally done being the family ATM. My phone buzzed again. Dad this time, then Mom, then Bobby. I silenced the all and opened my email. Instead were a message from my lawyer. Sec. Or I waited. Account secured. All traces of your involvement remove. Move. They can't touch you, know. I should have felt guilty. That's what good daughters feel when they cut off their parents' right. But watching the notifications pile up, the desperate attempts to access money that was never really theirs, I just felt tired, and ready. Another tax from Monica. Want me to come over? We can drink wine and burned family photos. Rain check, I replied, but there's something you should see. I pulled up a spreadsheet I'd been maintaining for years. Every loan, every emergency payment, every guilt trip induced transfer. The total at the bottom still made me wince. $342,876.54 as my phone rang again. Bobby, I answered this time, curious. Alina, what the hell? He was breathing hard. Mom's freaking out. The account's empty. Not empty, I corrected. Closed. There's a difference. But I need that money. The down payment. You mean the $100,000 they just gave you? Seems like you're covered. That's different. This was emergency money. I laughed. Actually laughed. Your emergencies or mine, Bobby? Because I've been handling everyone's emergencies for a decade now. You being selfish. He spat. You've always been like this, thinking you're better than a 3-1. No, I cut him off. I've always been convenient. There's a difference there. To the doorbell rang. I checked my security camera. Mom and Dad looking panicked on my front step. Bobby, I have to go. Congratulations on the house. I hung up as my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. I heard what you did. Smart girl, call me. We should talk. Lucia, my cousin, the other family exile. I hadn't heard from her in years, not since she'd been branded difficult for questioning our grandmothers. Well, the doorbell rang again. More insistent this time. I watched my parents on the camera, their faces growing increasingly desperate. Dad was holding papers, probably bank statements. Mom was crying. I sat back in my chair, sipping my now cold coffee, and opened my calendar. In exactly 1 month, Bobby's first mortgage payment would be due. In 2 months, Dad's property taxes. In 3 months, Mom's medical bills. They'd figure it out. They'd have to, just like I had. Every time they drained me dry and called it love. My phone buzzed with Lucia's message. Again outside. My parents finally gave up and walked away. But not before Dad slipped a note onto my door. I didn't need to read it. I knew what it said. The thing about family is they never expect you to stop playing your assigned role. The reliable daughter, the convenient ATM, the quiet fixer of other people's mess. Says, but roles can change, and I was done playing mine. I picked up my phone and typed, highly sure, let's talk. You look tired, honey. Are you eating enough? Working too hard again? Mom first with my collar at Sunday dinner, her fingers lingering just long enough to make it feel like an accusation. A woman your age needs to take care of herself. You're not getting any younger. I smiled tightly, carefully extracting myself from her grip. The dining room was suffocating with fake pleasantries and the smell of pot roast. Bobby's that across from me practically glowing as he detailed his new house plans to Dad, And the master bath has this huge soaking tub, perfect for a future wife, right? He winked at Mom, who beamed back during Lee. Speaking of which, Mom chirped Sarah's daughter Rachel is single again. Such a sweet girl. And she works part-time at the library, much more suitable hours. The more you keep, Alina. I stabbed a potato with more force than necessary. My hours suit me just fine, Mom. My business cleared 7 figures last year. The table went silent. Dad's fork clattered against his plate. That's very aggressive. Have you, sweetheart? Mom finally said, her voice dripping with concern. Men don't usually like women who make more than them. I finished. Yeah, you've mentioned that several times. Bobby laughed nervously. Come on, says, no need to get all feminist about it. Hey, wanna hear about the wine cellar I'm running? Actually, I sat down my fork. I'd love to hear how you're affording all these renovations considering your salary at the car dealership. More silence. Dad cleared his throat. Alina, that's not very ladylike to ask about money. Funny. You never thought it was unlike ID, like when you needed me to cover your mortgage. That was different. Mom snapped. That was family helping family. This attitude of yours, this cutthroat business mentality, it's not healthy. My phone buzzed. A text from Zeke. Araya, final paperwork filed. You're officially clear. I see. Mild, genuinely this time. You know what's not healthy, Mom? The fact that I paid for your knee surgery last year while you were setting aside money for Bobby's house fund. Bobby's face reddened. Hey, that's not fair. You're just jealous because what? I stood up, my chair scraping back, because I work my ass. So for you, coast it because I built something real while you waited for handouts, or because I finally stopped being everyone's backup plan. Alina. Dad slammed his hand on the table. That is enough. Apologize to your brother right now. I laughed, a sharp cold sound that made Mom flinch. No. What did you say? I said no. I'm done apologizing for being successful. I'm done being told I'm too ambitious, too aggressive, too much. And I'm definitely done watching you throw money at Bobby while treating me like an 80. And with the personality disorder. Mom started crying right on cue. How can you be so cruel after everything we've done for you, everything you've done for me? I pulled out my phone, opened my notes up. Let's review, shall we? Last 3 years, your mortgage $48,000, Mom's surgery $35,000, Dad's car repair $12,000. Bobby's temporary loan $15,000, the anniversary cruise. You couldn't afford $8,000. Stop it, Dad warned. And now I continued. You give Bobby $100,000 for a house he can't afford while telling me I need to be more suitable for marriage. Make it make sense, Mom. Bobby stood up, face purple. You just bitter because you alone. At least I'm trying to build a real life built on Mom and Dad's money. And what you thought would be my money to write. That's why you got Nick to go sign instead of asking me, because you knew I'd see right through it. His silence was answer enough. My phone buzzed again. Monica, you okay? Need backup? I texted back quickly. Almost done meeting you in 20. If you walk out that door, Dad said quietly. Don't bother coming back. I looked at him, really looked at him, who taught me to ride a bike and balance a checkbook, now threatening me for having the audacity to succeed on my own terms. That's the thing, Dad. I'm not the one who needs to come back. I'm not the one who's going to need anything from anyone anymore. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Behind me, Mom called out, Alina, please, we're your family. I turned back one last time. No, you're not. You're just people who expected me to set myself on fire to keep everyone else warm. And I'm all out of matches. The door closed behind me with a soft click. My phone buzzed with a text from Lucia. Did you do it? Yes, I replied, walking to my car. Your turn. The sun was setting as I drove away, casting long shadows across the neighborhood where I grew up, where I learned that being a good daughter meant being a convenient one, where I finally find a lot to say no behind me in that house with its perfectly manicured lawn and carefully maintained appearances. My family was about to learn what happens when their safety net decide to save herself. Instead, your brother missed his first mortgage payment, Monica announced, sliding into her usual booth at the coffee shop 3 weeks late and counting. I start my latte unsurprised. Let me guess, he tried calling me first 17 times according to your blocked calls log. She pulled out her phone. Also, your mom's been posting passive-aggressive Bible quotes on Facebook, something about ungrateful children and eternal damnation. How original. I took a sip of my coffee just as my phone lit up with an unknown number. Next voice came through tight with panic. Alina, please don't hang up. It's about Bobby. I put the call in speaker for Monica's benefit. What about him? He told me he'd cover the payments if things got tight. Said it was already arranged. I never would have co-signed if you'd known he was lying. I finished. Yeah, that tracks. Alina, please, my credits. Go is not my problem. I cut in. Neither is Bobby's mortgage or his lies. After he hung up, Monica leaned forward. You know this is going to get worse before it gets better, right? They're not going to just accept that the Bank of Alina is closed as if. On cue, my phone rang again. Mom, Alina. Her voice was warbling. Baby, we need to talk about Bobby's situation. Dewey, he's your brother, he's struggling. And we can't help right now. Our savings, you mean the savings you emptied for his down payment? A pause that was different. We assumed you'd help if he needed it, you know. You always have before, and that's exactly the problem, Mom. You will assumed I keep fixing everything. Did you ever once ask if I wanted to, if I could afford to? But you're so successful. She was crying. Now you have that big business, all those clients, and that makes me what? The family piggy bank. That's not fair. We're blood. Alina, family helps family. I thought about the spreadsheet on my laptop, years of one-way help documented in cold hard numbers. Funny how that only seems to apply to me, helping everyone else. Is this about the house money? Are you really this jealous of your brother? No, Mom, this is about patterns. This is about consequences. Monica was watching me intently, concern etched on her face. She mouthed, you okay, Alina? Mom's voice hardened. If you don't help your brother, he could lose everything. Then he'll know exactly how I felt every time you drained my accounts for emergencies. Every time he dismissed my success is somehow wrong or unfeminine. Every time you picked him over me. That's not. Did you know I had to postpone buying my own house 3 years ago because Dad needed that new truck for his image, or that I cancelled my vacation last year to pay for your cruise? Silence on the line. But sure, Mom, let's talk about Bobby losing everything. After I hung up, Monica slid her hand across the table. You're shaking. I'm angry, I corrected. There's a difference. My phone buzzed with a text from Lucia. Heads up, they're calling the whole family, trying to paint you as unstable. Agree. Wait for classic playbook. Let them. I texted back. Monica frowned at her phone. Your mom's already posted 3 more Bible quotes. And oh wow, Bobby just went live on Facebook. He's crying about family betrayal and toxic success. I laughed despite myself. Toxic success, that's new. Alina. Monica's voice turned serious. Are you sure about this? Watching them implode might feel good now. But this isn't about feeling good, I interrupted. This is about finally letting them face reality. They made their choices. They chose to enable Bobby to exploit me, to build their whole lives on the assumption that I'd keep sacrificing myself for their comfort. And now they get to live with those choices. My phone lit up again. Nick had posted publicly about Bobby's missed payments. The comments were already flowing in, family members choosing sides, old friends expressing shock. Your dad's texting. Monica reported, still monitoring the fallout, says he's coming to your office tomorrow to sort this out once and for all. I pulled up my calendar, already knowing what I'd find. Perfect timing. My lawyer will be there. To Zachariah and Lucia, I showed her the meeting invitation time to show them exactly what they've been playing with. Monica sat back, studying me. You know what scares the most? It's not losing the money, it's losing control. You were supposed to be the reliable one, the fixer, the good daughter. Instead, I'm the mirror. I finished showing them exactly who they are. And they hate what they're seeing. Outside, rain started falling, soft and steady somewhere across town. My brother was probably still crying on Facebook. My parents were probably still quoting scripture about ungrateful children. And I was finally free of the obligation to care. My phone buzzed one last time. Lucida, ready for tomorrow? Grow more than ready, I replied. Time to show them what consequences really look like. Lucia looked exactly as I remembered her, sharp eyes, sharp, a smile, and an air of carefully contained fury. She sat across from me at the upscale restaurant, stirring her martini with deliberate precision. When I saw this coming 10 years ago, she said, when they did the same thing to me, different details, same story. The trust fund, I asked. She nodded. Grandmother left it for both of us. Your mom, my dear aunt, convinced everyone I was unstable because I questioned their authority. Next thing I knew, money gone. Family turned against me. Branded the difficult one. How much? 200,000 each. She took a sip. But you already knew that, didn't you? That's why you called me back. I pulled out my laptop, opened a folder labeled family assets. Look at this. I turned the screen toward her. 3 weeks before they gave Bobby the house money, there was a transfer from an old account, one I used to fund their emergencies. Lucia leaned forward, eyes narrowing. They used your own money to give him the down payment, 40,000 of it, money I'd sent them last year for Mom's medical bills. I closed the laptop bills that mysteriously never got paid according to the hospital records. Jesus. Lucy sat back, and they still don't think they did anything wrong, do they? Mom's latest Facebook post calls me a daughter of Jezebel. So no, the waiter brought her entrees. We ate in silence for a moment before Lucia spoke again. There's something else you should know. She pulled out her phone, showed me an email Remember that property in Spain the one grandfather left to all the grandchildren? My fork froze halfway to my mouth. The villa, what about it? Your mother sold it 3 months ago without informing any of the other owners, including you. The restaurant suddenly felt too warm, too crowded. That's not possible, sure. She needs signatures, forge them, all of them. I have proof, Lucci. His voice was gentle. But from she's been planning this, Alina. They all have the money they gave Bobby. It's just the tip of the iceberg. My phone buzzed. Monica, sending a screenshot of Bobby's latest social media rant. Family is everything until success makes you forget where you came from. Funny, Lucci, I commented, reading over my shoulder. They never seem to forget where to find us when they need money. Did you ever confront them? I asked about the trust fund. I tried, got the same response. You getting now Bible verses from? Many loyalty lectures, gaslighting about how I was imagining things. She smiled grimly. But I did something they didn't expect. What? I documented everything, every transaction, every lie, every manipulation, built a case so solid they couldn't twist their way out of it. She pulled out her speed drive, just like you're doing now. I stared at the small device. What's on it? Everything: bank records, property documents, emails, 10 years of their financial fraud, including what they did to you. She slid it across the table. Consider it insurance. My phone lit up again at this time. We're still coming tomorrow. This ends now. They have no idea, do they? Knew. She mused that we 10 steps ahead. I thought about the meeting tomorrow, about Zachariah's carefully prepared documents, about the years of evidence I collected. Do you know what's ironic? I said they taught us this. Those lectures about being careful with money, keeping receipts, protecting ourselves. They just never thought we'd use those lessons against them. That's the thing about narcissists, Lucia replied. They think they're the only ones who can play the game. The waiter bought her check as I reached for it. Lucia caught my wrist. Let me, she said. Consider it a down payment on a new partnership. She smiled, that same shop smile that had probably terrified our family years ago. You're not the only one who's been planning, cousin, what they did to us. It's happening to other women, to other families, and we're going to help them fight back. Check. My phone buzzed one final time. Zachariah confirming tomorrow's meeting details. Everything was in place. You know, they'll try to destroy us for this, I said. Lucia laughed, a real laugh, warm and fierce. Oh honey, they already tried that. Now it's her turn. We stepped out into the evening air. To exiles, turn lies somewhere across town. Parents were probably planning their attack for tomorrow, believing they still held all the cards. They had no idea what was coming. Ready for tomorrow, you? She asked as we parted ways. I thought about the USB drive in my bag, about 10 years of receipts, about all the women like us who've been silenced by family loyalty. Ready, I replied. Let's show them what daughters of Jezebel can really do. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 p.m. I watched through my security camera as Mom smoothed her hair and Dad adjusted his tie, their battle armor for confrontation. Bobby stood behind them, looking less confident than usual. I bust them in. Zachariah, only see it, were already seated in my home office, documents spread across the table. Alina, Mom's voice carried down the hallway. Sweetheart, in here. I called back. They filed in, faltering slightly at the sight of Lucia. Mom's face went pale. What is she doing here? Dad demanded. Sitting. Lucida replied smoothly. It's what people generally do during financial old. It's financial. Alina. What is this? Mom's voice trembled, a gesture to the chairs. Please sit down. We have a lot to discuss. If this is about Bobby's house,